Hello, everybody. It's me, Julia, and today I am here with S.F. Baumgartner, correct?
Yes,
And your
Sylvia. You can call
Sylvia
me Sylvia.
is your name, yes. What made you decide as an author to go with the S.F. Baumgartner instead of Sylvia?
Well, it's kind of funny because I watched the a movie or something about J.K. Rowling,
Uh huh.
and she doesn't have the middle initials, and when the publisher asked her, I think back, 20, 30 years ago, they didn't want they I guess there's some kind of sexism, I guess you can say. They didn't they thought that, if you identify yourself, you use your first name, people would know that it's a woman writer.
Right.
And they don't want this. The publisher told her that, why don't we use your initial instead?
Uh huh.
And so she said, okay, she had to find an initial or something. And anyway, so that got me thinking, because thrillers tend to be, the guys readers tend to be guys. Well, there are a lot of women readers too, but the at least the perception is, tend to be guys, and the authors, a lot of them are guys too.
Hmm.
So so that, I just thought, well, I'm not sure if I want to, you know you never know who has some kind of perception, preconceived idea that, maybe she doesn't know what she's talking about or whatever. And so I just pick my initials.
And do you ever go to signings and things like that, and people go, "Oh my gosh, I thought you were a man."
No, because I'm not hiding it. Like my website and everything, if you go to my website or Instagram or anything, you'd see who I am. It's
Right.
not like I'm trying to hide. I mean, I'm not using a real pen name that's totally different, you know.
Right. Right.
So
And we know some people on TikTok that definitely use pen names, and I can't interview them because they can't show their face.
ah
Most of those are spicy writers.
yeah.
Yeah. God bless the spicy writers. Um, yeah, it's very tricky when you don't want your kids parent, your kids' friends, parents knowing that you're the one who wrote those things. So it can be very challenging. Tell us about your new book and what it's about.
Okay, the one that just came out like yesterday, Hidden
Uh-huh.
Secrets. That's book 4 in the Mirror Estate series,
Okay.
and it's a continuing. Some readers can read it as a standalone,
Mhm.
but some readers prefer to read them in order so they can get the full picture and understand all the characters, their background, their backstories and everything. So, but there's in fact, there's a 5-star review that, the person said that this is the first book she read in the series,
Mhm.
and she just loved it. And she said, fast pace and all the action and everything keep you guessing. And so that's,
Mhm.
it's great. It's about, well, it's basically about a woman who was abducted, and she needs to try to escape from this tunnel.
Mhm.
And she found a young child you know to go with her. And and there are a lot of other stories. There's murders and espionage. So everything would come together in the end.
In the end, it's so hard to talk about a book without talking about a book, right? Because there's
Yeah,
so many spoilers in a book, and you're like, how do I talk about this book without ruining it for somebody?
that's right. I can't really tell you everything. I mean, because I can only tell you that, if you read it, and they will all come together in the end.
Right. Read it and you'll love it. We promise. How many books have you written?
Uh, well, the very first, let me think. So if you count a prequel, then one, two, three, four, five, and then the sixth one actually is coming. Novella is coming out. I'm hoping November or early December. It's a Christmas um, crime mystery kind of thing, and
Nice.
um, so I guess you can call it 6 books so far.
So far. And have you always loved to write? Do you love to write?
Um, I don't know how to answer that because I started,
Uh-huh.
when I was like in high school, I started doing that, but then it didn't go anywhere. I started writing. I didn't know what I was doing. I just wrote maybe a few chapters or whatever, and then it didn't really go anywhere. And then in college, I started again.
Mhm.
Again, it didn't go anywhere. And of course, then afterwards, I had to work. Writing. You can't make you can't make a living as a writer. At least not back then, anyway, and not as. Uh, so anyway, so I worked, and then I got married, and uh, well, during the particularly um, down time of my life,
Mhm.
I wrote again, and I actually pumped a whole novel, a long novel,
Mhm.
in like what 3 months or so,
Mhm.
and but that. But now I looked at it, it was like a healing process for me
Mm. Yeah.
because it never got published.
Mhm.
But it was a very healing, experience for me.
Right.
So then, and then, again, it got placed in the back burner. I didn't do anything, and up until maybe a few years ago, um, well, when I started out, self-publishing wasn't,
Yeah.
it's unheard of.
Right.
Nobody did that,
Mhm.
and so then a few years ago, I started, you know, online, looking at all these things, reading up about how you can just publish on Amazon. It's so easy. And I mean, I just thought, wow, what the heck, maybe I could do that, I mean, I didn't, because back then what I did was I had to, you know, try to find an agent,
Mhm.
and then the agent would try to sell your book.
Right.
And it was such a long process back then. And now, I just thought, well, maybe I could do that. And so I and I took some online writing classes
Uh-huh.
just to learn some of the basic stuff.
Right.
When I wrote that novel again, it was more of a healing process,
Right.
and also because I didn't know anything about writing. I didn't know anything about 3-act structure or that kind of stuff. The plotting and nothing. I just wrote,
Yeah.
and but then so anyway, so then I took a couple classes just to learn these basic stuff, uh, and then I took this. I learned about this Save the Cat, right? The
Right.
novel.
I have like 5 Save the Cat writes a novel, writes a book, writes a TV show, a screenplay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I thought, well, this is great, So I follow that structure, follow that system to plot my first novella, and it was in I think 2019 that I did that. But it was again, it was like an experiment. I did everything myself, other than I mean, I don't know what I did with the. Where did I get the cover? I don't know. I think online somewhere I got some cover, um and but I didn't. I published it. I didn't really um, nothing. I don't want to say not professional because I did have an editor who edited it. It
Right.
just wasn't a great editor or whatever. So anyway, later on, and it was short. So later on, I after some time. The review wasn't bad though. It was pretty good. So I decided to I pull it and published it and revised it and expanded,
Mhm.
and that became Buried Secrets, the prequel to the Mirror Estate series. And I republished that last year. Yeah, last year, uh, 2020. Yes, June of last year. See, I took a break, 2019, and I took it down, and then 2020, of course, the world turned upside down, and I, I didn't. I don't know. A lot. Some people they took that time to do things that they, didn't normally do, but I didn't. I don't know. I guess it was just strange for me. I took a break actually.
Right.
So I picked it, like, as I said, I republished it. I had it re-edited and new title, new cover, everything. And uh, so last year, June, and then book one, Living Secrets, came out in September of last year. And then
Wow.
book two, Forgotten Secret, January of this year. And in book three, Tango Secrets, April of this year. And then now, Hidden Secrets, just now.
How long are these books? How many pages are in these books?
They are roughly about 300 plus pages.
Wow.
Yeah,
You
they are
can amount. I thought you
70K. Yeah, 70K words, roughly.
Wow. So a lot of this has happened in the past year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And so let's circle back. Do you like writing?
Yeah, I do. I guess I have a lot of ideas, and actually, my editor right now, when I first found her, the first letter that she or email that she sent back after reading stuff other than the editorial thing, she was saying that, well, God blessed you with your imagination. You've got such great imagination. So I guess, that's what I have.
And if that's what you have, put it to good use, which I think you have. And so your books are thrillers, correct?
Yes.
So they're not
Well, it
more,
has mysteries inside and suspense is, so
are they spicy at all?
no,
No, no, no.
it's Christian. It's clean.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes. It's
Nice.
it's clean. There's no profanity, nothing, it's very clean. People like it that way.
Right.
So,
I have a I personally like to read cleaner books. I'm just of that age where you couldn't spice me up if you tried. I'm just
I,
like
I don't, you know,
a younger woman's game. I'm not really interested, but so it is nice. I agree with you. It is nice to read, some clean stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you develop the main character of your story? Where did they come from? And is it a man or a woman?
well, the prequel would be a man, a young man, early 20s, Dylan. I don't really know how I came up with it. It's kind of like it just popped up in my head, I guess. And but then book one, starting some of the other characters, the Lily in book one, I kind of it's not exact replica, but I use my kids as inspiration, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because Lily is half white and half Asian, so that's what I kind of use them. And my books have a lot of different ethnic backgrounds, people with different ethnic backgrounds in there,
Mhm.
and so it's kind of like that. It's just my kids and people around me, or TV or whatever.
Right? It just comes. What do you think the most challenging part of writing a book is for you? And is it different for every book? Sorry, my eye is watering.
um, it's not so much the idea. Well, I like to throw all these twists and turns.
Mhm.
And so I guess the hard part, uh, well, let me see. I think it's the fighting scene. Fighting scene would be the toughest because
Like
I don't want to
the
go overboard.
choreography of
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
I don't want to go overboard to be too violent,
Mhm.
but then I don't want to just gloss over it.
Right.
And so that's kind of, tough to,
Mhm.
and I need to know the exact way, like if someone, how do you disarm, like if somebody was pointing a gun at your back, how do you disarm, how do you free yourself from it?
Right.
Like, so things like that,
So how do you do that kind of research?
mostly online. Well, you can find a lot of these things online.
Isn't it amazing what you can learn, right,
Yeah,
online? And do you ever
yeah.
watch movies or heavily choreographed scenes and you're like, oh, yes, I'm going to put that in my next? That's awesome.
Well, yeah, I love all these shows,
Mhm.
NCIS, FBI, whatever
So
you
do
can,
I.
yeah, anything you can think of. So whenever I see, it's just kind of in my head already. I can visualize them, so I know, okay, this is this is probably how it would go, and
Uh-huh.
so that's kind of what it is. And I write, and these books I write just like you're watching a TV shows.
Mhm.
They flip from one scene. Well, they don't really jump back and forth that quite often, but you follow this, and then you go to another scene. Another, just like watching a TV show. That's how I visualize it. That's how I think. How, like, FBI, NCIS, or Criminal Minds, or whatever. Because that's how you create suspense, I guess.
Right.
You leave something hanging,
Yeah.
and then you go to another scene.
Right. Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I write romance, but I still have to, at the end of every chapter, leave a reason for somebody to want to keep going in the chapter. And, I think thrillers and mysteries do it much stronger, probably. And the way that they do it is probably different. But even as a romance is kind of a weird genre because everybody knows in order for that book to be shelved as a romance, it has to end either as a happily ever after or a happy for now. That means you're picking up a book that you know how it's going to end, and you have to pull somebody through that suspense and get them to believe they're not going to make it. They're right. Same, I think, with thrillers and mysteries. You have a main character, and you're going to have to put them through the paces, and you're going to have to get people to think they're not going to find the criminal, or they're going to die trying, or something like that, even though we know most of the time that that main character will be victorious at the end.
Yeah.
And that's such a challenge and such a skill. What an art form to be able to tell that story and to get someone like me think they're not going to make it or they're not going to find that guy, right? They're not going to save that child, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
That's an amazing gift.
Well, yeah, I did. I learned from, actually. I heard Lisa Gartner say something. I don't know whether, I forgot whether it was an interview or I read something or whatever. She said that, okay, when you write thrillers, and what you do is she went through all these planning stuff or whatever, and then you have these cards or something, and you have all these resolution at the end, and but once you get to the end, uh, something about, then you finally pick one, you threw all of them away and make a new one. So and so that's kind of what I do. I just kind of, okay, I need, and then of course another advice is, if you think that you're going slow, just keep throwing danger. Just put your characters through some kind of dangers. Throw something in, you
Right.
know.
Keep them always moving and in action and having
That's
the
what I did.
next step. Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. The was there anything unexpected, like was there a challenge in this book that you didn't expect to come up for you as a writer?
Actually, this book, yeah, it took me longer to write because
Mhm.
I kept changing it. I don't even remember why I had to change it. I guess whether for the reason I cited, I guess because I threw in this ranch, then I had to go back
Uh-huh.
and then fix certain things,
Right.
or um, or make sure that I didn't, I had to leave a little bit of clue for the really um, ego-eyed reader who would be able to pick it up. Otherwise, then so
Right.
things like that.
And it's amazing. There are a lot of people out there that are very, very good at noticing the smallest inconsistencies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
It's funny because I consider myself pretty good at seeing inconsistencies, unless it's my own writing. And then it's like, I don't, there could be a barn suddenly in the middle of my scene and I would not notice it. But when I'm reading other people's books, I'm like, oh, wait, they said those were green before in the last chapter. Your brain just thinks, I think, differently. Are these books, you said that a woman came in and she had read the last book without reading the others. And so are they, is it a like series and that you have to kind of go one after the other, or are they connected kind of standalones, but still in a series?
well, they are series,
Mhm.
and uh, I yeah, and as I said, well, the actually I have recaps of the previous books on
Okay.
my website,
Uh-huh.
and also in the printed books that I printed out the recaps. So for people who just picked it up, like this one, the new one, if they haven't read the other ones, then they could at least get the gist of
Right.
what happened.
Uh-huh.
But to get the full story, they'd have to go read the books.
Right.
And um, a lot of people would say that to really get, to fully enjoy
Mhm.
the whole series, you got to read from the beginning.
Right. I can appreciate that. And you said now you're working on this like a Christmas novella. And I'm curious how you feel about writing a novella because they're a much more condensed type of story. Did you enjoy the constriction of having to keep on track and not being able to put a lot of fluff in and to keep moving forward? Or do you like more of the expansive novels better?
Yeah, see, that's interesting that you asked that because remember my first book,
Right.
it was a novella too.
Hmm.
It was, but that was my first time, the very first time I actually wrote and I mean published the book. So it was, I didn't have this problem. I didn't think, in fact, back then I probably didn't think I could write, a 70 word book. But now that after a few of those books, it is hard. And also because of the writing. See, I haven't gotten it back from my editor yet, so I don't know what she's going to say. Maybe she's going to tell me to just stick to what you know best, because this is. I told her, I said, this is a little bit change of pace because those other books, they are fast paced and multiple POVs and very twisty, lots of suspense and everything. And this one, I said, well, it's just you just follow one direct detective,
Hmm.
one POV. There's no, and it's shorter. So I don't know. I'm kind of worried what she's going to say. It's, and I can't really, again, as you said, I wanted to have the same, to have my readers feel the same flavor,
Right.
like a lot of suspense and twists and turns. But then because it's so short,
Right.
I can't really explain a whole lot,
Right.
and then also because it's only one POV.
Uh-huh.
It's hard for me to see. I don't. Maybe I really need to go back to the multiple POVs because the one POV, I feel I am so restricted. I can't really explain.
What's going on in somebody else's head without
Yeah,
talking.
and something that happens offsite or like that that she isn't present there.
Right.
Then So anyway,
Yeah.
we'll see.
It is a challenge for sure. And that's why I was curious because like you said, you are used to have quite adapted to know what your parameters are, know what works for you in that. But I think that as a writer, it's very brave of you to go, yes, that's what I know, but this is what I'd like to try. Because certainly you're learning things that you would
Yeah.
have never known unless you would have tried it. So yes, you go. That's
Thank you.
uncharted territory, and that's always kind of scary.
Yeah, I just want to see how it goes, and if people like it, then maybe I'll try to. I don't think I like it though. I think I definitely need to go back to the multiple POV. Just if because this is. I'm hoping that this will turn into a spin-off series.
Uh-huh.
Because to me, this is like a spin-off novella.
Right.
Because a few characters from the existing series will show up,
Right.
and so I'm hoping that's in TV parlance, this would be like a backdoor pilot.
Right.
So
I like how you use television as almost like a roadmap kind of for some of your own ideas.
yeah, I do. I did because I think I learned from them um, how they end each scene,
Right.
so that the viewers would
Mhm.
always sit and watch
Right.
what's happening, or
Yeah.
end each episode, so
Mhm.
then you still want to come back and find out.
Right. Especially, I mean, if you're going to sit through 6 bad commercials,
Yeah,
on that cliffhanger, so that you stay through all the car commercials and the Taco Bell, and and you're ready. You're still going to be sitting there. Your butt's going to be in the chair when it starts back up again, and that's a
yeah,
skill.
yeah. And the recaps, I actually I got that idea from them too.
Mhm.
Believe it or not, because there are a few times NCIS or some of the other shows that when they have to be continued or whatever, or they picked up, they'd have a show then, but they picked up some a case or some characters that it happened like maybe a while back. So
Right.
they did a little recap and said that, and I thought, well, that's a great idea. I should probably do that. So, I mean, you never know. I mean, readers can read a lot of books. They get all confused or whatever. They don't remember, and
Yes.
it's probably a good idea to just give them a little bit of refresh the mind. So,
Here you go. Here's just in case, it's been 20 books since you've been here. This is what happened.
yeah.
And now you can just jump right back in. No, I think that's a really good idea. Okay, so the last question I'm going to ask you is something I ask many authors. It's kind of a two-part question. One, is there anything about marketing that you like?
It's
And no can be an answer. That's okay.
not really. I don't really like any marketing.
Yeah.
I am really bad at marketing.
Right. It's a
I
tricky,
just do the minimum, I guess, the social on the social thing and newsletters,
right.
and I do try to sign up for some of these like promotions,
Uh-huh.
but that's you know, and I don't have the budget to hire these fancy purposes or whatever to do great stuff.
Yeah,
So
they're very expensive.
yeah.
They're very expensive. Well, I sure have enjoyed talking to you. Thank you so much for putting up with all my interrogation. I
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. And I wish you just absolute success. And if, when you drop that novella, if you would like us to, do, more of the whole block party thing, we'd be very honored to talk more about you and your books.
Yes, definitely.
All
Thank
right.
you. Oh,
Okay.
that before we close, can I just say that as of now, that Hidden Secrets, it's sitting at #2 spot
Really?
in all three categories. So I'm just hoping, I keep hoping that I reach that top mark.
Right, right. You just want that band just once, right?
So
Oh,
anyway,
all right. Well, good for you. I'm glad you're that close, and I'll be praying and hoping that you just get just just one more spot. You just need one more spot.
thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sylvia. I hope you have a fabulous evening.
You too.